Hello and welcome to Lucid Mind Chemistry channel with Majid. In this video, I'll be solving Chemistry O-Levels Multiple Choice Paper 12 from October-November 2019. You can go to any particular question by following timestamps given in the video description. Let's start. Question number 1. The concentration of aqueous sodium carbonate can be found by a reaction with hydrochloric acid of known concentration. The indicator methyl orange is used. Which items of equipment are needed? Now in this experiment, we are reacting sodium carbonate with hydrochloric acid in the presence of indicator, which is methyl orange. So this process is called titration. Let's find out what apparatus are needed. A. Burette. Now burette is used in titration. Then we have measuring cylinder. A measuring cylinder is not used because measuring cylinder is not accurate as compared to pipette. So instead of measuring cylinder, pipette is preferred. Third is gas syringe. As this is titration, so we don't need to measure the amount of gas formed. So this is also incorrect. B is burette. Again burette is correct. Then again we have measuring cylinder, which is wrong, and then thermometer, which is also incorrect. Thermometer is used in those experiments in which temperature is needed to be measured. As this is titration, so thermometer is not needed. C is again burette. Then pipette. Pipette is more accurate as compared to measuring cylinder, so this is correct. Third one is conical flask. We need conical flask for titration. So all three are correct, so C could be the correct option. Then we have D, burette, pipette and stopwatch. As we are not measuring the rate of chemical reaction, we are finding out the concentration, so therefore stopwatch is not needed. The answer is therefore C. Question 2. The diagrams show 3 stages, 1, 2 and 3 used in the preparation of salt. Which row correctly shows the solubilities both of the reactants and of the salt formed in this preparation? From the diagram we can see that one of the reactant is this one and second reactant is this one. The two react together and residue is formed, which is filtered off. So it means that one of the reactant is insoluble. So it could be either C or D. Now looking at the solubility of salt formed, we can see that we had filtrate, which was then heated to obtain the salt. So filtrate means that the salt is soluble. So it should be soluble. As residue was formed when two reactants reacted together, so therefore both salts are not soluble. So A and B is incorrect. So the only correct answer is D. Question 3. The nucleon number of an atom is typically greater than its proton number. The difference between these two numbers indicates the number of blank in the atom. Atoms that have different nucleon numbers but same proton numbers are called blank. Which words correctly complete caps 1 and 2? Now the word nucleon has come from nucleus, and we know that in nucleus of an atom protons and neutrons both are present. So the difference between the nucleon numbers and proton numbers indicates the number of neutrons in an atom. So it should be neutrons. In second line they have given the definition. This is the definition of isotopes, because in isotopes atoms of the same element are present that have different nucleon numbers but same proton numbers. So it is isotopes. The correct answer is therefore D. Question number 4. Which 3 elements exist as diatomic molecules at room temperature? Now the word diatomic means which is made up of 2 atoms. So as all of these given a non-metal, so therefore covalent bond is present among these atoms in order to complete the outermost shell. In A we have hydrogen. Now hydrogen exists as H2. This is because hydrogen shares one electron with another hydrogen atom to make single covalent bond. Second is oxygen. Oxygen is written as O2, and in oxygen, two bonds are formed between two oxygen atoms to complete the octet. Third one is helium. Now helium is a noble gas and it does not make any bond because the outer shell of helium is already complete. In B we have nitrogen. Nitrogen is present in group 5, so it makes 3 covalent bonds with another nitrogen atom. Chlorine is Cl2 and chlorine makes single covalent bond with another chlorine atom to complete its octet. The third one is neon, as again neon is a noble gas, so therefore it does not make any bond, so it exists as monoatomic atoms. Similarly in C we have nitrogen, again it is N2, oxygen is O2, fluorine is a group 7 element, so it makes single covalent bond between two fluorine atoms, as did chlorine. As in C, all three elements are present in diatomic form, so this could be the correct option. In D we can see we have oxygen, which is O2, chlorine group 7 element, again Cl2, and helium is a noble gas, so it does not make any bond. The correct answer is therefore C. Question number 5. Which is a pure compound? A is dry air. Now we know that dry air is a mixture because it consists of a number of gases such as nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, and other gases. B is ethanol. Ethanol is an alcohol which is a pure compound. It just consists of C2H5OH. C is steel. Again, steel is a mixture because in steel different elements are present such as chromium, nickel, iron, etc. D is petrol, gasoline. This is also a mixture because it consists of a mixture of compounds consisting of 5 to 10 carbon atoms in long chains. The only pure compound is ethanol, so therefore answer is B. Question number 6. Which diagram best represents the structure of a solid metal? Now we know that in metal we have sea of electrons. So the electrons are surrounding the positive ions and there is strong attraction between opposite charges. And also the atoms are very close together, so there are least spaces among atoms. Let's look into the options. In A we can see that there are empty spaces present. So A is not a metal. And also we can see that positive and negative ions are present, which is incorrect. These positive and negative ions are present in ionic compounds. So A is wrong. In B we can see that sea of electrons is present, which is surrounding the positive ions. So B could be the correct option. In C we can see that same charges are close together, which causes repulsion, which is not possible in metal. So C is incorrect. Similarly in D we can see that the positive charges are closer together, so therefore it can cause repulsion, and this is not the structure of metal. The correct answer is therefore B. Question 7. Hydrogen sulfide burns in an excess of oxygen according to the equation shown. We have 2 moles of H2S that react with 3 moles of oxygen to form 2 moles of water and 2 moles of SO2. 48 decimeter cube of hydrogen sulfide is burned. Which volume of sulfur dioxide will be formed at room temperature and pressure? As we can see that the reactants and products are present in gaseous form. So for gaseous equations you must remember that same moles means same volume. Or you can also say that same volume means same number of moles. In the question they have given hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide. So we can see that the number of moles of hydrogen sulfide is 2 in balanced equation, and number of moles of sulfur dioxide formed is also 2. So we can write 2:2. As the number of moles can also be written as volume, so therefore we can take the ratio between moles and volume. 48 decimeter cube of hydrogen sulfide is burned, so we can write 48 decimeter cube for hydrogen sulfide. So how much volume of sulfur dioxide will be formed? Let's cross multiply. The volume of sulfur dioxide formed will be 48 into 2 divided by 2. So it is 48 decimeter cube. As in the equation the number of moles were same, so the volume is also same. The answer is therefore C. Question number 8. Which statement about electrical conductivity is correct? Now for electrical conductivity you should remember that a substance is a good conductor if it has free electrons, or in other case it should have free ions. If none of these is present then it should be a bad conductor. A. Covalent compounds such as glucose conduct when molten or dissolved in water. As we know that in covalent compounds covalent bonds are formed and there are no free electrons present or no free ions present, so therefore covalent compounds are bad conductors. B is dilute acids such as sulfuric acid conduct because all the ions are free to move. Now we know that when sulfuric acid is dissolved in water it forms ions, and as it is a strong acid all of its molecules are converted into positive and negative ions, so it becomes good conductor in solution form. C. Ionic compounds such as sodium chloride conduct due to movement of electrons. This is incorrect because in ionic compounds when they are dissolved in water they conduct because of the presence of free ions, not electrons. D. Metals such as copper conduct due to the movement of positive ions. This is incorrect because in metals free electrons are present, so therefore they conduct because of the presence of free electrons. The correct answer is therefore B. Question 9. Ammonia is manufactured from nitrogen and hydrogen by Haber's process. The equation is given. We have 1 mole of nitrogen that reacts with 3 moles of hydrogen to form 2 moles of ammonia gas. What is the percentage yield when 60 kilograms of ammonia is produced from 60 kilograms of hydrogen? The formula of percentage yield is, it is actual yield divided by theoretical yield into 100. Now actual yield is always given in the question while theoretical yield is to be calculated. As 60 kilograms of ammonia is formed, so this is actual yield. Let's find the theoretical yield from balanced equation. Let's find the number of moles of hydrogen that is given. As we know that number of moles is equal to mass in grams divided by molecular mass. So mass in grams is 60,000 grams divided by the molecular mass of hydrogen, which is 2. So the number of moles of hydrogen is 30,000 moles. Now let's find the ratio between hydrogen and ammonia. So we can see that from balanced equation, 3 moles of hydrogen form 2 moles of ammonia. So then 30,000 moles of hydrogen will form X moles of ammonia. Let's find the number of moles of ammonia that is formed. So X is equal to 30,000 into 2 divided by 3. So the number of moles of ammonia formed is equal to 20,000 moles. Let's convert these moles into mass. So mass is equal to moles into molecular mass. For ammonia we have 1 nitrogen atom and the atomic mass is 14, and we have 3 hydrogen atoms, so the atomic mass is equal to 3. In total the molecular mass of ammonia becomes equal to 17. So instead of moles we can write 20,000, and in place of molecular mass we can write 17. So the number of grams is equal to 340,000 grams. We can also convert this into kilograms by dividing by 1000. So we have 340 kilograms of ammonia that is produced. This is theoretical yield. Let's put the values in the percentage yield formula. Percentage yield is equal to actual yield, which is given as 60 kilograms. So we can write 60 kilograms divided by theoretical yield, which is equal to 340 kilograms into 100. So the percentage yield comes equal to 17.64%. The answer is therefore B. Question number 10. What is the ratio of the number of molecules in 71 grams of gaseous chlorine to the number of molecules in 2 grams of gaseous hydrogen? For solving these questions, you must remember that same number of moles means same molecules. Let's find the number of moles in 71 grams of chlorine. Now the formula of moles is equal to mass in grams divided by molecular mass. As it is Cl2, for 1 chlorine the atomic mass is 35.5, so for 2 it will be 71. Mass in grams is given as 71 gram and molecular mass is also 71, so the number of moles of chlorine is equal to 1 mole. Similarly, for hydrogen, we can find the number of moles as mass divided by molecular mass. Mass is given as 2 grams. Molecular mass of hydrogen, as the formula is H2, so 2 into 1 equals 2. So the molecular mass is also 2, so it is 1 mole. As we know that same moles mean same molecules, so the ratio of moles is 1:1. So therefore the ratio of molecules will also be 1:1. This is because we know that for 1 mole always 6 exponential 23 molecules are present. So as the number of molecules is same in both, so the ratio is 1:1. The answer is therefore A. Question 11. The diagram shows the apparatus for an electrolysis experiment. We have inert electrodes and also electrolyte is present, and we have battery. Using the apparatus shown, which electrolyte would give colorless gases at both electrodes? Let's first find out the type of ions present. In A we have aqueous copper 2 sulfate, so we have copper plus 2, H plus from water, sulfate from copper sulfate, and hydroxide ion from water. Similarly, for concentrated aqueous sodium chloride we have sodium positive, H positive from water, Cl negative from sodium chloride, and as it is concentrated, so therefore the concentration of Cl negative will be very high. And again we have OH negative from water. Third is dilute sulfuric acid. So we have H positive from sulfuric acid, similarly H positive from water, sulfate from sulfuric acid, and hydroxide ion from water. D is molten lead bromide. So in molten only the ions of compound are present. So we have lead ions and bromide ions. You should remember the discharge series of cations and anions. For cations we have potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, zinc, iron, lead, H positive, copper, and silver. While for anion we have Cl negative, Br negative, iodide, and hydroxide. Now moving down, the ease of discharge increases. This means that the ion present below will be discharged first, while the ion present above will not be discharged. In A we have copper plus 2 ion and H plus ion, so as we can see that H plus is above copper plus 2, so therefore copper plus 2 is converted into product. In sulfate and hydroxide ion we can see that sulfate is not present in discharge series, so it means it is not discharged, only hydroxide ion is discharged. So at one electrode copper is formed, while at the other electrode hydroxide ion converts into oxygen gas. So as gases are not formed at both electrodes, so A is incorrect. In B we have Na plus and H plus, out of which H plus will be discharged because sodium plus is above hydrogen. So H plus is converted into hydrogen gas. Similarly among Cl negative and OH negative, as the concentration of Cl negative is very high because of the concentrated solution, so therefore OH negative is not discharged but Cl negative is converted into chlorine gas. Now at both electrodes gases are formed in which hydrogen is colorless but chlorine is not colorless, it is greenish yellow gas. So B is also incorrect. In C we have H plus ions which is converted into hydrogen gas. And on the negative ions we have sulfate and hydroxide ion. As sulfate ions are not discharged, so hydroxide ions are discharged to form oxygen gas, and both are colorless, so C could be the correct answer. In D we have molten lead bromide, so lead is formed on one electrode while bromine gas is formed on the other electrode, and also bromine is reddish brown gas. So D is also incorrect. The correct answer is therefore C. Question 12. Which metal is most likely to be extracted from its molten chloride by the use of electrolysis? From reactivity series we know that potassium is the most reactive one, then we have sodium, then calcium, then magnesium, then aluminum, zinc, iron, lead, copper, silver, and gold. Now metals above aluminum are all extracted by the process of electrolysis. This is because they are reactive compound and they form very strong bonds. While the metals below aluminum can be extracted by the help of carbon, as carbon is able to reduce the oxides of these metals, while the metals present below lead are so less reactive that they can also be reduced by hydrogen. So among these metals that are most reactive, we go through electrolysis process. So we have calcium, which can be done through electrolysis. Copper does not need electrolysis, iron does not need electrolysis, silver does not need electrolysis. The answer is therefore A. Question 13. Two energy profile diagrams are shown. The scale on the y-axis is same for both diagrams. This is reaction 1 and reactants are below products. This is reaction 2 and there is larger energy difference between reactants and products. Which statement is correct? A. Both reactions are exothermic. As we can see that the energy of product is high as compared to the energy of reactants in both diagrams. So therefore both reactions are endothermic, they are not exothermic. B. Only one reaction is endothermic. This is also incorrect because both of the reactions are endothermic as the reactants are absorbing energy to form product. Part C. The activation energy of reaction 1 is smaller than the activation energy of reaction 2. The activation energy is the energy that is required by the reactants to convert into the transition state. Similarly, for second reaction, it will be the energy required by the reactants to convert into this transition state. So this is the activation energy required for the first reaction, while this is the activation energy required for the second reaction. As we can see that in second reaction, less energy is required as compared to the first one. So C is also incorrect. D. The enthalpy change of reaction 2 is larger than the enthalpy change of reaction 1. Now the enthalpy change is the energy difference between the products and the reactants. So we can see that this much is the difference between products and reactants in reaction 1. While in reaction 2, the difference between products and reactants, which is enthalpy change, is quite high. So statement D is correct. The answer is therefore D. Question 14. Ammonium nitrate dissolves in water. This forms solution aqueous ammonium nitrate and the enthalpy change is positive plus 25 kilojoules per mole. Which statements are correct? Number 1. The reaction is endothermic. As we can see that the enthalpy change is positive, so it means that the reaction is endothermic as energy is absorbed. So statement 1 is correct. 2. The water gets colder during the reaction. As energy is absorbed by ammonium nitrate solid from the surroundings, so as water is the surrounding, so therefore temperature will decrease in endothermic reaction and water will become cold. Number 3. Heat is absorbed by the ammonium nitrate from water. This is also correct statement because the temperature of water is reduced. As all three options are correct, so therefore answer is D. Question 15. Which statement about photosynthesis is correct? What happens in photosynthesis is that carbon dioxide gas along with water molecules, it converts into glucose in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight. Glucose is formed along with the oxygen gas. 6 moles of carbon dioxide react with 6 moles of water to form 6 moles of oxygen and 1 mole of glucose. A. Chlorophyll is a reactant. Now we can see that chlorophyll is not a reactant, it is a catalyst. So A is incorrect. B. Oxygen is a product. This is a true statement as we can see that oxygen is being formed as a product. C. Sunlight is a reactant. Only CO2 and water is reactant, so therefore this is incorrect. Sunlight only provides energy for the chemical reaction. D. Water is a product. Now water is a reactant, it is not a product, so therefore D is incorrect. The correct answer is therefore B. Question 16. In which reaction is the underlined substance reduced? A. We have carbon which is underlined and it forms carbon monoxide As we can see that oxygen is gained by carbon, so this is not reduction, this is oxidation. So A is incorrect. In B, chlorine is underlined, and we can see that the oxidation state of chlorine is 0 as it is in molecular form, so it converts from 0 to -1. As this is decrease in oxidation state, so therefore it is reduction. And in reduction, chlorine gains electron to form chloride ion. So B could be correct. C, magnesium is underlined and the oxidation state of magnesium is 0. And we can see that it has gained oxygen, so gain of oxygen is called oxidation, it is not reduction. So C is incorrect. In D, we can see that zinc has changed from 0 oxidation state to +2. So as it is increase in oxidation state, so therefore it is oxidation. So D is also incorrect. The answer is therefore B. Question 17. Catalysts alter the rate of chemical reactions. Which statements correctly describe the effect of adding a catalyst to a reaction? Now what catalysts actually do is that it lowers activation energy of the reaction. It does so by providing alternate pathway. Number 1. All reactant particles have more energy and move faster. This is incorrect because catalyst does not provide any energy to the molecules. 2. The activation energy is lowered. This is true because catalyst lowers the activation energy. 3. More reactant particles collide with enough energy to react. As activation energy is lowered, so therefore more reactant particles will be able to convert into product. So this is true statement. As 2 and 3 are correct, so therefore answer is C. Question 18. Solution T has the following properties. Number 1. It reacts with magnesium forming a gas. Number 2. It reacts with calcium carbonate forming a gas. Which statement about solution T is correct? Now magnesium is a metal and calcium carbonate is a carbonate. And we know that acids can react with metals to form salt and hydrogen. For example, HCl can react with magnesium to form magnesium chloride salt along with hydrogen gas. We also know that acids can react with carbonate to form gas. So acids plus carbonates forms salt, water and carbon dioxide gas. For example, HCl can react with calcium carbonate to form calcium chloride, which is salt, H2O, and CO2 gas is released. So we can say that acid reacts in both these chemical reactions. So which statement about solution T, which is acid, is correct? A. It contains more OH negative ions than H positive ions. This is incorrect because in acids, H plus ions are greater in number as compared to OH negative. B. It has a pH of 9. This is also incorrect because acids have pH less than 7. C. Its reaction with calcium carbonate produces hydrogen. This is incorrect because calcium carbonate produces carbon dioxide gas. D. It reacts with aqueous ammonia. This is true because aqueous ammonia is basic in nature. As ammonia is dissolved in water, it forms ammonium hydroxide. and acids can react with ammonium hydroxide to form salt and water in a neutralization reaction. So it will form ammonium chloride salt along with H2O. So D is correct. The answer is therefore D. Question 19. Which substance is soluble in water? A is copper 2 carbonate. It is insoluble. B is copper 2 oxide. This is also insoluble. C is copper 2 hydroxide. This is also insoluble. D is copper nitrate. This is soluble because we know that all nitrates are water soluble. The answer is therefore D. Question 20. Which statement about ammonia is correct? A. It is colorless. Ammonia is colorless gas, odorless gas. This is incorrect because ammonia has a very strong choking smell. B. It is a gas that turns damp blue litmus paper red. This is incorrect because ammonia is basic in nature and base turns red litmus to blue. C. It is formed when potassium nitrate is heated with aqueous sodium hydroxide and aluminum. Now this is a true statement and you can find this reaction in the identification of nitrate ions. In nitrate identification, what happens that we add sodium hydroxide aqueous along with the presence of aluminum foil. When heated, it forms ammonia gas which turns red litmus to blue. D. It is manufactured using vanadium 5 oxide as a catalyst. Now ammonia is formed in Haber's process, in which powdered iron is taken as catalyst. The correct answer is therefore C. Question 21. Part of the periodic table is shown with 4 elements. We have W, X, Y and Z. These are not the elements' actual symbols. Some pairs of these elements may react to form compounds, which formula are correct. As we can see that W is in group 2 of the periodic table, so there could be +2 charge present on W. Similarly, X is present in group 3, so it can make +3 charge. Z is in group 6, so it can gain 2 electrons and -2 charge is present. Y is in group 7, so the oxidation state will be -1. Also, we can say that W and X are metals and Y and Z are non-metals. Now, as W and X both are metals, so therefore they cannot react to form WX, so A is incorrect. In B, we have WY2. The oxidation state of W is +2 while that of Y is -1. So when making compound, the charges can be exchanged to form number of atoms, so it will become W1Y2. Similarly, we can see that W is +2 and Z is -2. So when similar charges are present, they cancel out and the compound formed is WZ. So both are correct. In C, we have WZ, which is correct, and XZ. The charge on X is +3 while that on Z is -2. So as the charges are unequal, so therefore the compound formed will be X2Z3. So this is incorrect. D is X2Z3, which is correct, and YZ. Now the charge on Y is -1 while that on Z is -2. So in making compound, it will form Y2Z. So this is incorrect. The correct answer is therefore B. Question 22. The elements in group 1 have similar chemical properties. Which statement explains why this is true? Now the chemical properties depend on the number of outer shell electrons. A. They all have metallic bonding. This is not true because metals are also present in other groups such as transition elements, group 2 elements, but the properties are different. B. They all have same number of complete electron shells. This is wrong statement because as we move down in group 1, what happens that with each period successive shells is added. So the number of complete electron shells increase in each period in group 1. C. They all have the same number of electrons in the outer shell. This is true statement because in group 1 all elements have 1 electron in their outer shell. As in chemical reactions, electrons are involved, so as the number of electrons is same, so therefore chemical properties will be same. D. They are all stored under oil to prevent reactions with the air. This is true statement, but it has nothing to do with similar chemical properties. This is because of reactivity. So D is incorrect. The correct answer is therefore C. Question 23. Helium and xenon are both noble gases. What is true of both elements? First is that they are chemically inert. This is true statement because noble gases does not react with other elements to form compounds. Second is that the atoms have 8 electrons in their outer shell. Now this is true for xenon, but for helium this is not true because the atomic number of helium is 2. So there are just 2 electrons present in the first shell. So it is not true for both. The answer is therefore B. Question 24. The ions of metal X react with aqueous potassium iodide. This is the chemical equation. We have colored X plus 2 ion. From this information, it can be deduced that X is most likely a metal and X plus 2 ions are dash. Which words correctly complete caps 1 and cap 2? As we can see that X forms colored compound, so it could be the transition metal. So it could be C or D. Now we can find the oxidation state of X in Xi, as iodine is from 7th group in the periodic table, so the oxidation state is -1. So for X it will be +1. So moving from +2 to +1 is decrease in oxidation state, so therefore it is reduction. The answer is therefore D. Question 25. Which substance is a metal? First is the melting point. Now metals have high melting points. Second is the conduction of electricity when solid, as in metals free electrons are present, so therefore they are good conductors in solid state. Third is the conduction of electricity when molten. Again in molten free electrons are present, so therefore they are good conductors. The answer is therefore C. Question 26. Which metal can be obtained from its oxide by using either carbon or hydrogen? Let's draw the reactivity series of metals. We have potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum. Then we have zinc, iron, lead, copper, silver, and gold. Now the metals present below aluminum can be reduced by the help of carbon, while the metals present below lead can be reduced by hydrogen too. So these are the metals that can be reduced by both carbon and hydrogen. So we have copper, silver and gold. So A is correct. B, C and D are wrong. The answer is therefore A. Question 27. Metal carbonates decompose when heated. Which carbonate is most stable to heat? Now we have calcium, copper, lead and zinc. Let's arrange these according to their reactivity. So first is calcium, second is zinc, third is lead and fourth is copper. So we can write calcium, zinc, lead and copper. Now you should remember that more reactive metals have more stable carbonates. So as calcium is the most reactive among these four, so therefore calcium carbonate will be the most stable to heat. The answer is therefore A. Question 28. Iron is extracted from its ore in blast furnace. Coke and limestone are also added to the blast furnace. What is the purpose of the limestone? Now coke is pure carbon and limestone is calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is added in the blast furnace as it decomposes into calcium oxide and forms carbon dioxide gas. This calcium oxide is a metal oxide and metal oxides are basic in nature. So this metal oxide can remove impurities such as silicon dioxide and convert them into silicates, which can be removed in the form of slag. A. To decompose to release oxygen. This is incorrect because on decomposition it forms carbon dioxide gas. B. To decompose to release oxygen. Again it is incorrect. C is to decompose to neutralize the acidic impurities. Now we can see that silicon is a non-metal and non-metal oxides is acidic oxide. So it can be neutralized by calcium oxide in the form of silicates. So C is correct. D. To react with coke to heat the blast furnace. This is also incorrect. The answer is therefore C. Question 29. Aluminium is extracted from aluminum oxide by electrolysis. This is the diagram. Which statement about this electrolysis is correct? A. Aluminum ions gain electrons to form aluminum. This is true because aluminum ions are present as Al plus 3 and cations move towards cathode to form aluminum metal. B. Cryolite increases the melting point of the electrolyte. Now this is wrong because cryolite is an impurity and it reduces the melting point of the electrolyte. C. Cryolite reacts with impurities to form slag. This is also incorrect because cryolite is only used to reduce the melting point. D. The carbon cathode has to be replaced regularly as it reacts with oxygen. As oxygen is in the form of anion which is O-2 and anion moves towards anode to lose electrons and it is converted into oxygen gas. So therefore anode, which is made up of carbon, needs to be replaced regularly. So it is not cathode, it is anode. Correct answer is therefore A. Question 30. Steel is produced by blowing oxygen into impure molten iron. A student suggests two reasons why this process is carried out. Number 1. The oxygen removes some of the carbon from the impure iron. Number 2. The oxygen oxidizes iron plus 2 ions to iron plus 3 ions. Which reasons are correct? The first statement is true because oxygen can react with carbon at high temperature to form carbon dioxide, and it reduces the amount of carbon present in impure iron. In second statement it says oxygen oxidizes iron plus 2 to iron plus 3. This is wrong because oxygen does not oxidize iron. It only oxidizes carbon. As only one is correct, so therefore answer is B. Question 31. Z is a pollutant gas that is formed in internal combustion engines. An aqueous solution of Z is acidic. Z is removed from the exhaust gases in catalytic converter by reduction. What is Z? A is carbon monoxide. Now carbon monoxide is neutral because it does not dissolve in water. So as aqueous solution of Z was acidic, so therefore it is not carbon monoxide. B is nitrogen. Again, nitrogen is insoluble in water, so therefore its solution is not acidic. So B is also incorrect. C is H2O. H2O is itself liquid and it is not acidic, so C is also incorrect. D is nitrogen dioxide. Now this is non-metal oxide, and non-metal oxides are mostly acidic in nature. And nitrogen dioxide is also pollutant gas, so therefore it must be removed from exhaust gases. So what happens is that in the presence of catalytic converter, nitrogen dioxide reacts with carbon monoxide to form nitrogen gas and carbon dioxide. So as we can see that oxygen is removed, so therefore this is a reduction process. So as nitrogen dioxide is pollutant, its solution is acidic and it is removed by reduction, so therefore the answer is D. Question 32. A student investigates the properties of a colorless organic liquid. Which observation shows that the liquid is unsaturated? Now unsaturated means that between carbon atoms double bond are present, or in other words alkene is present. A. It decolorizes aqueous bromine. This is true because alkenes can decolorize aqueous bromine by addition reaction. For example, when we have ethene molecule, bromine can be added to form dibromoethane. And as bromine was brown in the reactant side, so therefore it forms colorless compound. So bromine is decolorized by alkene. B. It has a sweet smell. Now alkenes does not have sweet smells. Actually esters are the ones that have sweet smell. C. It is a good solvent for organic compounds. Now this has nothing to do with unsaturation because saturated compounds can also be used as solvents. D. It produces carbon dioxide when burned. Also we can say that saturated compounds can also produce carbon dioxide when burned. So this is not a true statement for unsaturation. The correct answer is therefore A. Question 33. Alkanes are saturated compounds containing carbon and hydrogen only. Structures 1, 2, 3 and 4 are saturated hydrocarbons. This is first, this is second, then we have third and fourth. Which pair of structures are isomers? Now we know that isomers are those compounds that have same molecular formula. and different structures. Let's find the molecular formulas of the given compounds. This is the first one. We have 6 carbon atoms and 14 hydrogen atoms. So the formula of 1 is C6H14. In 2 again we can see that we have 6 carbon atoms and 14 hydrogen atoms are present. So therefore the formula is C6H14. So as the molecular formula is same and the structures are different, because in 1 we have 5 carbon atoms in the long chain and this is the substituent that is attached with second carbon, while in 2 there are 5 carbon atoms in the long chain and the substituent is attached with the third carbon atom. So therefore the structures are different. So 1 and 2 could be isomers. So it could be A. Let's find out the molecular formula of 3. We have 6 carbon atoms and with each carbon there are 2 hydrogen atoms. So the molecular formula is C6H12. In 4 we have 7 carbon atoms and the number of hydrogen atoms is equal to 16. So therefore 1 and 4 are not isomers because the number of carbon atom in 4 is greater and also the number of hydrogen atom is more. Similarly 2 and 3 are not isomers because in 2 the molecular formula is C6H14 while in 3 the molecular formula is C6H12. In D we can see that 2 and 4 are not isomers because the molecular formula is different. The only isomers are 1 and 2, therefore answer is A. Question 34. When butene reacts with bromine, which compound could be made? Butene is an alkene with the molecular formula C4H8 and they could be double bond between any 2 carbon atoms. So it could be between first and second or it could be between second and third. Let's add bromine in both of these possibilities. When double bond is present between first and second, then bromine is added in such a way that one bromine atom attaches itself with the first carbon atom while second bromine attaches with the second double bonded carbon atom. The product formed will be like this. Double bond is converted into single bond and we have 2 bromine atoms attached. Now with the second possibility, when double bond is between second and third carbon, we can add bromine and the product will be like this. One bromine is attached with second carbon while the other is attached with third carbon atoms. The rest are the number of hydrogens. So we can draw hydrogens, 3 hydrogen with the first carbon atom, 1 with the second, 1 with the third, again 3 hydrogen atoms with the last carbon. Similarly in this compound, 2 hydrogen atoms with the first carbon, 1 with the second, 2 with the third, and 3 with fourth carbon. As this structure is similar to B, so therefore B could be correct because bromine is attached with first and second carbon. In A, bromine is attached with the same carbon atom, which is not possible, so A is incorrect. In C, bromine is attached with first and third carbon, which is also not possible because it can either be first and second or second and third, so C is incorrect. In D, again we can see that bromine is attached with first and fourth carbon, which is not possible. The correct answer is therefore B. Question 35. Which statement about propene is correct? Now propene is an alkene and the general formula of alkene is CnH2n. So if there are 3 carbon atoms, then there must be 6 hydrogen atoms present. A. It can be formed by cracking butane. As in butane we have 4 carbons and 10 hydrogen atoms. Cracking means converting longer chains into smaller chains. As we have 4 carbon atom chain in butane, so it can be converted into 3 carbon atom chain in propene. So statement A could be correct. B, it has the formula C3H8. This is incorrect because the formula is C3H6. C, it is a saturated hydrocarbon. Now saturated means that all carbon-carbon bonds are single bonds, while in propene we can see that we have one double bond present. So therefore this is unsaturated compound. So C is wrong. D, it reacts with hydrogen to form ethane. Now we can write the formula C3H6. It will add hydrogen in double bonds and it will convert into C3H8. Now C3H8 is propane. It is not ethane, so therefore D is incorrect. Correct answer is A. Question 36. Which term describes the structure of terylene? You should remember that in terylene the linkage is of C double bond O, which is also called ester linkage. A is polyalkene. Now in polyalkene we have single bonds between carbon atoms. B is polyamide. Now in polyamide the linkage is C double bond O NH. C is polyester. In polyester the linkage is C double bond O. D is protein, and in protein the linkage is C double bond O NH. As we can see that ester linkage is present in C. So therefore C is the correct answer. Question 37. Which process is involved in the formation of ethanol from ethene? The formula of ethanol is CH3CH2OH, while that of ethene is CH2CH2. Now in alkene water can be added in such a way that hydrogen attaches itself to one carbon atom, so it becomes CH3, while OH attaches itself with the other carbon atom, so it becomes CH2OH. Now alkene has converted into alcohol, and this reaction is called addition reaction. So A could be correct. B is combustion. In combustion ethene combusts to form carbon dioxide and water. C is polymerization. In polymerization ethene molecules come close together to form long chain of polyalkene. D is substitution. Alkenes does not give substitution reaction. So A is the correct answer. Question 38. Which compound is an alcohol? Now we know that alcohol is such a compound in which OH functional group is present. In A we can see that we have oxygen that is making a bridge between two carbon atoms, so it is not alcohol, it is ester. In B we can see that OH is present with this carbon, and again another OH is present with this carbon atom, so B is an alcohol. In C we can see that C double bond OH is present, which is carboxylic acid functional group. In D we have carbonyl carbon present, it is a ketone. So the only alcohol is present in B, therefore B is the answer. Question 39. Which two compounds react together to form CH3CH2COOCH3? This is an ester. Let's draw the structure. We have CH3, CH2, then C double bond O, then CH3. So we can see that we have 3 carbon carboxylic acid and 1 carbon alcohol that can react together to form this product. So the carboxylic acid reactant will be like this: CH3, CH2, C double bond O, OH, and alcohol will be of one carbon atom, so we have CH3OH. As this is 3 carbon carboxylic acid, so 3 carbon is named as propanoic acid, while we have 1 carbon alcohol which is methanol. So therefore propanoic acid and methanol will react together to form this ester, which is methyl propanoate. The answer is therefore D. Question 40. Which compound might be suitable to flavor a soft drink? A, we can see that we have COO present, so this is ester functional group, and esters can be used as flavors. In B, we can see that we have alcohol functional group, and alcohol is not used as flavor. In C, we have carboxylic acid functional group. Also, carboxylic acids are not used as flavors. In D, we have alkene because there is double bond between these two carbon atoms. So alkene is also not used as flavors. So only edible flavors are formed from esters. So therefore answer is A. Thanks for watching. A like, comment and subscribe will be highly appreciated. You can find related videos in playlists. Stay happy and enjoy learning.